Hi, it's Megan. I wanted to review for the Yves Saint Laurent Pure Chromatics in number 9, and I will show you. I have swatches outside so you can see it in the natural light, although there's not a lot of sunlight today. As much as I'm in Southern California, it's really not a sunny day. It's upside down so you don't have to deal with the mirror so much, although I just dropped one of the little applicators. So this is the color, so if you look at it the way you see it in the store or whatever, it's like this. And it comes with these two little applicators, one of which is now on the floor, which of course I ignored when doing my eyes. But it's 4 colors, and they don't label the colors on the back. You just have kind of the number 9. And I had my $20 gift card for Sephora on a $50 purchase. I wanted to buy something that was so god-awful expensive I wouldn't buy it without a card like that. So I was wandering through Sephora and I just fell in love with this particular set of colors. And I've been eyeing the Yves Saint Laurent, which have good reviews, but also a little mixed, a little glittery. So I just got it purely based on the way it looks. And I'll show you the colors and I'll show you why it matters. Okay, so here you have the upper corner, which to me, that one right there looks like a pink base taupe. This one looks like a really kind of golden olive undertone, maybe a little bronze, but definitely I see a little green in it. Brown or taupe-ish brown. Here, to me, this looks like a classic taupe with a little shimmer. These all have shimmer. And this is kind of like a smoky, God, is it like a gray? Yeah, it's like a gray. And so I just got obsessed for some reason with these particular colors on my hands watching them. I just thought they were gorgeous. So I picked this one up. And I have one of my favorite eyeshadow quads, actually not quads, it's a trio. Comes in, again, this beautiful gold packaging with my fingerprints all over it, because it does get fingerprints really easily. A little better. It's from years ago, and it has kind of this beautiful oceany soft aqua blue, and then kind of a glistening brownish black, and then a really light, hard to describe, it's like an off-white with a little undertone of gray to it. It's really pretty, very matte. One of my favorite palettes of all time. So I haven't bought the brand for a long time. It's just so expensive, and I was obsessed. So what do I think? Well, anyway, I was gonna, before what I think, I looked online and saw that this formula is a great, like, advanced formula, which Yves Saint Laurent has pioneered, where they basically, instead of mixing solvent with the powder in the eyeshadow, they mix water. So basically, when you use the shadows dry, you get kind of a soft, glistening shadow, and when you use them wet, you get like a cream shadow with a metallic undertone. I don't like metallic undertones. I like glitter. I like glistening shadows. I don't like metallic. So once I read that, I was like, I don't know about this. But I already had it, and I like the colors. So when I do the swatches outside, I did dry on top, and then underneath it, I did wet. So what did I think, and how did I do the look that I have? First of all, I still like the shadows. I played around with this more than I do with most things before I do a video. Most products, just because there were so many different variations, the dry, the versus wet. And then there were issues with, how much water do you use when you mix water into the eyeshadow? I don't know. Do you make it really wet? Do you make it kind of slightly wet, your brush? If you do your finger, how do you do that? Does the wet wear better than the dry? And a lot of eyeshadows, once you put water in them, they kind of clump up, they get really hard, and you can't just get the shadow out the way you did before. So first of all, on the last point, these just seem to soak up the water, and it's almost like that dry, whatever they call it, the Nike fabric, where the dry wick or whatever, where you don't even see the sweat or feel it on your clothes. It's kind of like that. You get it a little wet and you don't see it, and it does not affect the texture of the eyeshadow at all. That was good to know. I played around with how much water. You don't need that much, but you do need to get your brush more than just a little tiny bit wet, but also kind of how much of an impact you want varies, and so that's how wet you get your brush. I liked the shadows dry. I don't like shadows that are too pigmented. I don't like too much eye makeup. I don't like it too dark. I know a lot of people that review shadows feel differently. The more dark and vibrant and pigmented it is, the better. For me, it's like, how do I just blend this out? So if it's dark and pigmented, I like blendable shadows. This was not a problem. The wearability didn't vary that much for me. It was a little bit more wearable, like lengthwise, with the wet shadows, but all of them lasted a good 8+ hours. with an eyeshadow primer under them. I always use an eyeshadow primer. And so what I did for this look is I did a mix of the dry and the wet. And I did not find that these became overly metallic. I hate metallic shadows a lot. And so I was worried about that. I found that they were glistening, but they weren't metallic on me. So this is what I did. I used all 4 on the look. So I took the kind of the taupey pink one and I did it dry up here. This one, it's hard to see even in the swatches. It's such a light shade. And I used a little brush. I only used 2 brushes for this look. It was just my mood. Sometimes I use lots, sometimes I don't. This is a great brush because it's small, it's Stila. And it's pretty firm, so it gives you a lot of control. And that was what I was worried about too with the wet shadows. If it turns into kind of a cream shadows give you more control. And you have the benefits of more control and the downside. You can really mess it up, or because you have more control, you can make it more precise. Depends how exacting you are. So I just did the dry with this light taupe pink shade up there. And again, it barely shows up in the swatches, but out in the sunlight when you're walking around, oh god, there went my other brush. It's like a perfect base shade because you don't want too much of a statement shade, but you can see that it just makes everything look more polished. And that's what this particular palette is great for. It's just a natural polished look. I would do this both with less of a look and more of a look, depending on what I wanted. You could really smoke this up and make for a kind of a sexy smoky eye with it because you got that great gray. But you could also just make it super natural and just use 1 or 2 of the shades to, you know, do a really professional, polished work look. But I wanted to show all the colors, so I did it a little differently for this. So anyway, 1 up there, then also dry. I took this lower corner shade right there, and I put that in the inner corner like this, dry. And you can see I then put the darker shade out, this darker kind of olive to me bronze taupe. I put that wet here like this, so they're going up into the crease a little bit. And I'm gonna go really close if I can. I don't see a huge transition between the wet and the dry. It's not like a noticeable difference in the shadow. You just get more pigmentation if you get it wet. And then I took my favorite little smoky eye brush and I took that olive and just did it under here like this. I was tempted to play around more with the gray, but I decided to go for a more natural look. I took the gray, which I really like. This is the kind of, it's like my favorite kind of shade, along with like the completely boring bone matte things. But I took this and I just lined the eye with it and did what I do a lot of, which is just doing a part way line underneath. What you could also do to make it really pretty and like amazing standout eyes is take that gray. I'm actually going out tonight and I can't wear lots of makeup, so I didn't want to have to take the makeup off. I just didn't want to overdo it. It's a conservative thing tonight. I would take the gray and I would put that, it's like a charcoal gray, up into the crease like that and then really blend it in. And then you'd have just an amazing smoky eye. But if you look with the blue eyes, I think these colors are super flattering. I don't think they're too glittery or glistening. Even though it's inside, you can still tell when you look with the lights and everything. I actually think it's a really pretty natural look. I love it. So overall, kind of, let's do this with the camera. Overall, is it worth the money? I think these are really flattering, distinctive shades. I don't think they're too glistening. They wear really well on me. With some of these taupes and stuff, you know, these really distinctive kind of more nuanced shades are really sometimes where that extra price point bump up comes. I love it. I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with the wearability. I'm pleased with kind of the sophistication of the colors. And I think for just kind of a warm, this is I think a warmer tone palette. For a warm toned, really natural look, I think it's gorgeous. Really thrilled with it. I think that's it. So that's my review of this. I would love feedback. What did I miss? And if you have suggestions for other videos, please subscribe on YouTube. I also do videos for my book, which is a parent-focused education book, Get Your Child to the Top. If you've read that, I'd love feedback on that. And I think that's pretty much it. but worth the $58, $59. I actually think if you can afford it, it's worth it. Thanks. Hi, it's Megan again. I felt like I didn't fully, when I watched the video that I shot, I feel like I didn't fully say how gorgeous I thought these shadows were. I think there's a real complexity in them and a depth that doesn't show up on camera. So I think, I think they are truly stunning shadows, and you do get a much more vibrant, pigmented, but very natural looking shadow when you wet them. But they work beautifully dry as well. So are they gorgeous? Yes, they are absolutely stunning, and I did not find that, while they did have a little glitter, I didn't find them excessively glittery. I think it's just a really natural, pretty, beautiful look that is soft. The colors are just very flattering and natural, not artificial, but workable with my skin tone. Other skin tones, I can't comment, but I just wanted to add that extra thought at the end because I wasn't happy with the video I shot in its explanation. And I could have reshot the whole thing, but the rest of the video was fine. So thanks, bye-bye.